Good
Right.
morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes with myself, Michael Bergio, and Mark Novak. And this
Why?
beautiful Saturday morning, we're talking about
Why?
why. This is,
Why?
in particular, an observation. I think the whole office, and especially myself and Mark, in the last few days, just sort of asking ourselves, why are people still calling us? Why are people still very, very eager to get into property and or to
Why has the
sell or
government
rent?
still asked us to go to work?
Yeah, why? So,
Why?
what's some of
Why?
the key things people are talking to you, Mark? Because I think a lot of people are reaching out to us to ask why and how, and what do you see? What are you hearing on the front line?
Uh, why are people asking us to look at a property for sale, sell a property? Why are people asking us to rent a property? It's you know what it's essential for these guys. So what we've noticed is the people that are wanting help at the moment um, to sell something. Some people have had some exposure in the stock market. Some people don't feel that it's not essential that they hold on to their property any longer and they want to dispose of it now. Buyers are saying, well, we think we had to do it anyway. We've got a little bit more time now. There's less competition. Renters are saying we want to save money. We want to get out of our house and get into a unit. And jobs have changed with work, so we can't afford anything more. We need to do this now. Um, Landlords are saying we're going to go live with mum and dad, and we need this rented. We need it rented. So, and something that's important, Michael, is that some people have a bit of a poke on social media saying, why are you advertising property in this time? That's why.
100%. I think this time is very similar to your Christmas time. There's a lot of people on social media. There's a lot of people who have time on their platforms. We're seeing an increased usage on these and inquiries coming through. And I think the main whys I'm getting at the moment is I've sold, I have to buy. So
Yep.
it has to happen. They're out of a home. If anything, they're stressing. There's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of motivation on the seller side at the moment. So I think there's been a pretty quick revert to almost a bit of a buyer's market because there's people who have sold same situation. Because I think you could almost say sometimes it's easier to buy than it is to sell. Because
Well, some people need money. Some
yeah,
people need money to survive, and it's locked up in property, locked,
yeah.
and they need the money.
Morning, Luke. Hope you're well. And a big one that I'm hearing as well is the job uncertainty. So they've got a pre-approval that only lasts 60 or 90
Ah,
days.
that's a
And
big one. You got
yeah,
a loan. You got a loan approval for 90 days. You better take it up before it goes. Banks
100%.
may not lend the money in time.
Yes, so that's a big one I'm hearing, especially on that residential sector. I've got my loan approved. My partner may not be, my job may not be secure. I want to buy a property now while I've
Two
got the
percent
loan.
interest rate.
Yeah, and then you've still got the core principles that's going on at the moment with the cheap interest rates as well. So there's a lot of, I think there's still a lot of positive people out there looking to look at. I don't know if it's not that
Could
they're
be
not
negative,
taking the virus serious. I
but
think
they
they
could
just,
be. They could. You could be negative and motivated to buy.
yeah,
You can be negative. You can be negative and say, you know what, hell, I'm taking my money out of the stock market, and I'm putting it into the property because I'm negative about this whole thing, and I know that property is probably a little bit safer than stocks. So
100%. And
I think I don't want to be like, and I think it's really careful, Michael, that certainly you don't want to be opportunistic in this market where you're making money from other people's loss.
mm,
That's like I think that's a real bad way to make money. If you want to make money out of other people's loss, and that's a terrible business. But
I
I
always
think that
hate those calls when someone opens up going, do you have a desperate owner, desperate seller? Like they're the properties I'm looking at. And I just cringe. It's never nice. I don't think it's a good business model. I don't think it's good as a human, to be honest. Like I cringe when I hear that. And I know you do as well. It's never nice.
It's never nice. And look, whether that's, I think it's the intent, the intention that you're going on. And if you're buying at the moment, sure, maybe you're taking advantage of people that aren't in a good position. But I think you're also helping sometimes these people that aren't in a good position. So, it's funny that I've probably said the same thing backwards, or interpreted it differently. But I think that's important. I think that's important.
100%. And I know I was watching Luke's, what do we call these, lives or episodics the other day, and he was chatting to one of the brokers, and the wait, like it was taking some banks 6 weeks. I think Westpac 6 weeks to process your pre-approval application, and the other one's 3 or 4 weeks. So I think that's going to get out there more and more. Plus the job uncertainty, and people are just going to want to use the pre-approvals. Like I know from the first home buyers grant, I think there's more pre-approvals than there ever been. So if you're not using that now, you may not be getting that at the end of the year as well. So I think that's a real big one.
And I think a lot of people are really conscious in terms of why. And if anyone's who's tuned in at the moment, we're talking about why the hell would you be buying? Why the hell would you be selling? A landlord renting, a tenant renting? Why would you be even considering moving house in this environment?
Because there's a lot of people doing it, isn't it, Mark? There's a lot of people. Like business has changed over the last couple of weeks, but it's not like we're that shop on Pittwater Road that's shut and there's nothing happening. There's a lot.
No. And probably people are probably pretty interested in the numbers. I'll tell you the numbers. This last week was a regular week for us in terms of volume of sale. If you look back the last year, although this week was a quieter week in terms of sales. Last week in terms of sales, the same. In terms of rentals, pretty regular, the numbers all around. So how many properties we leased this week compared to last week compared to any other week of the year? Same. Now, and people are also interested in the numbers from real estate. On the Northern Beaches, there's 550 properties for sale 2 weeks at the beginning of the month. At the moment, there's 750 properties for sale at the end of the month. Yeah. So in one month, we've had about a 25% swing in stock, more stock on the market of people wanting to sell.
Yep. And like we've got a few comments here. Hey, Lisa, thanks for jumping in. Bricks and mortar. Michael Edward, cash is king. Money is cheap. Be smart. Don't be a wanker. 100%. I think that's referencing like trying to buy when people are under the pressure. And
yeah, and I think the cash thing's important. Sorry, mate. The cash thing is very, very important. I get that. But I also get that we need blood. There's no use having blood, 5 litres of blood sitting in a vat in storage when the body needs blood.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Yep. So there's no use hoarding cash or storing cash in an environment where that's what we need circulated through the veins. So at the moment, I still try to spend on essential items in order to keep the blood flowing through the community. So I still, you know what I mean? I could not get a haircut.
We touched on this on Tuesday about you've got the double-edged blade. You got the health side and the economy side still need spending. So it still needs to go through. Luke said New Zealand and Canada banks are not lending. We heard this. I haven't. Mark, have you heard about that? New Zealand? No. Sensitive issues with motivated sellers right now. Better way is to look at the terms that suit all parties. That's a good one. Maybe a longer settlement, lease back, things like that may suit parties at the moment. Shorter settlement so they can find somewhere else. A releasable deposit if say bridging finance is slow because the banks are slow. And maybe if you're looking to buy, if you can maybe release a deposit so they can secure a property, like as Michael said, cash is king. That could be a key term that helps get deals over the line at the moment, especially if banks are slow. Do
you like my Eminem look that I've got going on? Like his face is dark, now my face is dark, and it says why. Yeah, thanks for coming. Another thing that I want to mention is there's 2 types of corrections. There's a V correction. Lisa Novak told me this the other day. I liked it. She heard it somewhere. There's a V correction and there is a U correction.
Please explain.
So a U correction, you don't know how long. So it's a U-shaped market drops. How long do you sit on the flat line bottom for? Market comes back up. A V correction, immediately as we hit rock bottom, it shoots back up.
Mm.
Now that's quite an that's quite nice. Now we don't know how low we can go. I get that, and I get that at the moment that we're free falling a little bit, but we do know we will hit the bottom of the V, and we do know as soon as we hit the bottom of the V, all indicators in the marketplace, employment, property prices, everything will just go whoosh.
Yeah, 100%. But you got to stress as well. Like I can't really see a big drop in like housing pricing. I get the growth and the momentum will definitely slow on, but when you look at it, even if everything else is going around, there's still a lot of things out there for owner. Instead of an owner selling for 30% less, there's a lot of things they can do, like freeze their mortgage or assistance that way before you make a decision to sell at 30. Like people are speculating the market's going to drop 20, 30% and that's panic. People like there's a lot of steps that owners can do before selling for 30% less. Like Mark, it's not like, oh, I'm screwed. I'm going to sell my property and whatever I can get. If it's worth 700, I'm just going to take 500 because it's mayhem out there. Like there's a lot of things they can do. Like you said, move in with parents, rent it out, which will more than likely if they can refinance, but they may not be able to. But there's hardship. There's a lot of banks doing hardship. At the moment, I know Luke touched on it with his video, I think on Wednesday. A lot of banks offering stuff out there, the top tier, the big four at the moment. So I won't see, I don't think you'll see like a big, people are speculating like a 20%,
look, guys,
30%. I don't see it.
Look, and again, what we're talking about is why are people doing deals at the moment? I think, people have got to be really clever. People are actually doing it. It's a little bit Neanderthal. It's a little bit guerrilla thinking, and it's a little bit, like back in the old days, almost 500,000 years ago thinking. People are running the magnifying glass over everything in their life.
Yes.
Now, the magnifying glass is the essential magnifying glass. People are looking over everything and saying, is that essential? Is that not essential? Is that not essential? Is that not essential? Is that essential? All day, every day, people's minds are consumed with what is essential and what is non-essential. That's all people are doing 24/7. Toilet paper, yeah. Essential. Yep. Buy toilet paper, because they were compelled to think that way. They are thinking that way, and that's what they're doing. So I think when people are talking about our friend property, whether it's rentals or sales, when they're looking at rentals, they're going, is it essential that I move to something cheaper? Yeah. I just lost my job. Yeah. Let's have a look at cheaper places. That's why we're busy in rentals, renting stuff out to people, because people are moving downwards in prices.
I think this is this is going to be a really good cleansing for a lot of people to really evaluate themselves. Well,
shouldn't we always have thought like that?
100%.
Shouldn't that thinking always have applied? Why is it applying? Why is it so important now to have dunny paper in the house than it was 6 months ago? It was always essential. You should always have a good batch of dunny paper at home and not rely on running out of it at home and then going to buy it tomorrow. It sounds really silly talking that way, but what I'm saying is the reason why we're trying to work out why people are still transacting. It's just because it's an essential part of what people do. Now, the stock market was not essential. People looked at their stock and disposed of their stock because it was not essential. I didn't need to have that stock. It was easy to dispose of it. So essentially, bang, gone.
100%. And I've always found it's a little bit interesting with everyone rushing to the supermarkets and bulk buying when you look at everything where the supermarkets are open. And all countries, if we do go into lockdown, they've remained open. So it's a little interesting that the one thing that stayed open has everyone sort of panicking.
Look, if you want to buy essential, if you want to overbuy essential items, I fully support it.
Yeah.
If you want to overbuy toilet paper because you don't throw it out, good on you, mate.
Yep.
If you want to buy your vitamins because they don't go bad, you're going to buy a truckload, good on you. If you want to buy hand sanitizer because you want to be healthier, look at that as essential, good on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're better for it. You're right.
Yeah. And I love the quote because when we did the mental health topic the other day with Michael Edwards, the saying swimming naked. So I heard that 2 days prior, which it's a great quote. It's basically when the tide goes out, you can see who's swimming naked. And that comes down to if you own that watch or you're leasing that fancy watch, you own your car. And I think there's a lot of people who will be stripping things back, which aren't essential at the moment, just to keep a roof over their head. But the common thing is keep the roof over their head. That's why people are still transacting, because it's not an essential. You need a roof over your head, regardless if you own it or lease it. And
look, Michael, I own investment property, right? I own investment property. Now, that's essential for me because when I get to 55, 65, 75, whatever the age is, where I decide that I don't want to rely on my active income as a real estate agent, it's essential that I have annuity. It is essential that I have an income when I retire, right? So I think, and I'm not a bad person because I've got an investment property, because, why do you have that when people are going through pain? I have that because I realize that in 20 or 30 years, it's going to be essential that I have a passive income for me, my grandkids, my life, right? It's essential that I have a roof over my house. Now, it doesn't need to be in a palatial roof, but I need a roof over my house. So I think people are getting that more because they've got the essential magnifying glass. At the moment, every conversation I have with my wife is about what's essential. And I know that that's happening in every household, with jobs, with everything. So I love, and that's the reason why, and we often are questioning, like Michael and I are questioning ourselves earlier this morning as to why people are still transacting with rentals. It's essential.
It is. Property best asset, naked swimmers, margin calls, stocks. Yeah.
Margin calls are coming, guys. Margin calls are coming.
So what's a margin call? Is that like,
so, okay. So you go to the bank, you want to buy a stock and it's worth $1.
Yes.
And you want to buy $100,000 worth of those stocks.
Yep.
Okay. The bank says, okay, we'll give you a loan. We will give you a loan. You go, okay. They go, it's worth $1. Yes, it's worth $1. Okay. If you give us 30%, 40%, whatever it is, give us the money, we'll give you 70%. So if you give us 30 grand, we'll give you 100 grand. And you can we'll give you 70 grand.
Yep.
And you can go and buy the stocks for 100 grand. Everyone happy? Yep, we're happy. Great. All right. Now, if those stocks double in value, like a good old Tesla stock, whatever, Apple stock, whatever, if those stocks double in value, we love you even more as a bank. You're the best. But if those stocks go below the $1 to a certain threshold, we want our money back. We want our money back. How much money do you want back, Mr. Bank? Well, we want enough back. We want enough back to cover our bum. Hey?
It's like we want our 70 grand we lent you because now the asset's worth less.
Correct.
And if you didn't have the money, and most people, I would imagine, if they had the money, they just would have bought it. So they probably don't have the money. So therefore, they're selling the shares at a loss and then maybe even selling it more, not even covering what they lent for. So, yeah, that's...
So why they call it a margin call is they had a 20 or 30% margin from cash you put in.
Yep.
So cash they put in, there was a margin, 30, right? Yep. And that was their security, that margin, as to what the value of the stock was worth. As soon as that margin becomes smaller, the bank says, top up, please.
Yeah.
Top up, please. So at the moment, in the last couple of weeks, the banks are going to be tapping people on the shoulders saying, hey, we need your top up. And where do people top up from?
They're going to have to sell their property, savings, do equity, or sell the share and just put the loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, we're talking about essential here, guys.
Yeah.
We're talking about essentially. Now, there are people that are out there that have a perfectly good property that will dispose of that perfectly good property so they can top up their margin on their stocks.
Because, it's very true. So it's interesting. And what's going out there, Novak Home Loans? Always good to question yourself from Luke. Michael Edwards says, wow, you talk to your wife. I think that's you, Mark. They're always talking. I think they're all, I don't know if there's a couple that's more together than you guys.
We did talk.
It's very, very good.
She was a bit upset. She was a bit upset with me yesterday, though. She wasn't talking actively to me yesterday.
What did you do?
I got solar on the house.
Yes.
And Lisa didn't like people all over the house. Yeah. But I had it booked in like a month ago.
Still your fault.
But it's, I really care about the environment. So that's why it had to happen.
And it's stimulating. So with the solar, what are the benefits there? So how long does it take to recoup your power? Because isn't it, you're paying almost like the equivalent of 2 years or 3 years of bills up front, but that's in the hope for 20 years. It's after 5 or 10 years, it's virtually free. Isn't that the gig?
I think our ROI was 32%.
32%, not bad.
All right. So basically after 3 years, should pay itself off.
Okay.
After that, electricity for free.
Beauty.
Yeah.
Anything else you're seeing from buyers at the moment? Landlord calls, Mark, even ones that are coming up with general questions. Anything that can help the viewers here? That's a call an owner or a question may have had, and you answered it that we could share here.
Look, I think people turn to us to learn about to answer questions they have about the industry.
Yes.
And we're not economists, we're not bank lenders, we're not buyers agents. They turn to us because they want to know what's happening with property on the Northern Beaches, or they can apply what's happening with property to the sector they are in the market. But it's property, yeah.
Yep.
So the biggest thing that we're doing as an agency at the moment is all the lines from the unemployment lines have reduced. So I drove past a couple of times a day, and there's always big lines out there. The lines are almost gone, but our phone, as that line went down, our phone calls coming into the office and emails went up from prospective tenants.
Yep.
So we are getting absolutely nailed at the moment from prospective tenants that have lost jobs, that are having difficulty with paying their rent, or they are using this opportunity to ask in preparation to losing their jobs or having less cash. They are asking for their rent to be reduced. It is absolutely bananas. We are processing hundreds and hundreds of calls a day.
Yeah, and the government, the stand at the moment is rent is still due. It's as simple as that, isn't it, Mark? Rent is still due. Mortgages are still due. Fact.
Mortgages are still getting paid, so rents still need to be due.
And I think there's going to be a lot of people in hardship, and there's also going to be a lot of people taking advantage. I know I was reading an article with, I think it may be another country or here, especially for businesses, you have to prove that your business was directly related. So if you've had a bad business the last 12 months, you can't just say it's because of this sort of thing. So I think that's going to be big at the moment. Luke asked private inspections today. Mark, tell us how, as a company, we are handling it and how we're showing people through.
We've got in excess of 200 appointments booked today to get done out there. We've got our reps ready, willing, and able to go out there today. So we've got 26 odd reps that are out there doing these appointments today. So we're everyone's doing in excess of 10 appointments each.
Yep.
And what we did as a result is we deleted open houses and we invited prospective tenants and prospective purchasers to make an appointment with us. The appointments will be much shorter than normal. We won't waltz through houses on an appointment for 45 minutes or half an hour with a buyer. We'll be in and out in 5 minutes.
Yes.
In the event of people loving it, we'll double back and take some time and show them through.
Beautiful. And what, there's another question. What was the other thing I wanted to bring up? Regarding, and we were just touching on a little bit before, I think it's probably another few days or week before there's any decision from Fair Trading regarding any rental assistance landlord. That's still, would you say, a week away before anything gets public? Because as we know, a lot of people are asking us these questions because there's been a lot of talk about what it could be. We don't really want to speculate on that because
look, last week, midweek, we're expecting some sort of rent relief from our Prime Minister. What we did have towards the end of the week was through Cabinet, they pushed a whole bunch of changes in relation of what the powers that the tribunal have because of COVID-19.
Yep.
So that is direct preparation for making an announcement and putting something in place officially. Now, when that will happen will be most likely, I would say, at the latest midweek and probably at the very earliest Sunday night.
Okay.
I'm fairly sure we're going to get addressed as a nation by our Prime Minister, who's working very hard. And we'll see.
We'll see. Okay. Anything else you want to add on to this, Mark? Any questions out there, guys, you want us to talk about? We're always open to talk about the hot topics and address what we're seeing on the front lines, especially during a time out of this. So the takeouts of today is why. Why are we still getting calls from prospective tenants, prospective buyers, and future sellers are still calling us, and current sellers are still very motivated. And the big thing was why. What do we?
They've got to get it done. They've got to get, these guys have to get essential sales, essential purchases, essential properties, cheaper properties to rent, or they want to rent their property out. So these guys are motivated by essential.
Beautiful. Luke said, great session. Stay well, Novak from Lisa. Super organized. Go, Mark. Thanks for all the positive comments, guys. We love having you on. Please share if the content, if there's anything useful that.
Yeah, share this if it can help someone for sure.
We do. This is converted to a podcast as well, so you can listen to it. But I'm sure you'd much rather look at us. We're essential. Anything else you want to add, Mark?
Essentially, no.
Okay. All righty, guys. We'll be back on Monday, and we'll speak to you then. And Mark's got breakfast with Novak shortly as well.
15 minutes. Yeah. Take
Awesome.
care.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye. Like how it went dark. Did you see that?
Yeah. Just like fading away.
Yeah. And that's Eminem just here. This face here is Eminem.
He's essential.
He's essential.
Beautiful. Cheers, guys.